kind of an awesome experience and terrifying at the same time.
So they can topple the boat?
A whale strike could easily sink a boat like this,
Okay.
or much larger. It'd be a beautiful day out here, actually.
Yeah.
So the wind right now is pretty light. It's only the true wind, which is the actual speed the wind's blowing is, well, it fluctuated a little bit, around 3.5 knots.
I had a guy, another sailboat next to you guys actually. They came from Dana Point.
Okay, a little further. Yeah, this is the Mexican restaurant.
Okay. So we discussed this during our dinner, briefly. You mentioned about this. As a manager, there are multiple approaches you could take, right? But you could also put together a plan for your reporting team member so they can grow, right? Can you give me an example, or here is how a manager can plan for their individual contributor so they can be successful in their career?
Most organizations that I've been in, there was always some level of planning, like at least on an annual basis, if not quarterly.
Okay.
And as part of that, you'd have a business plan, and that there are goals that you were trying to meet for the business, and work with the team and say, okay, create your individual plan with your individual goals that are going to tie in and support the business objectives and the business outcomes that we're trying to drive.
Yeah.
And one conversation that I had with employees in the past was, everyone knows at the end of the year you're going to have to write up a 2-pager to summarize your top accomplishments, like your top achievements, and across 3 or 4 different dimensions, right?
Yeah.
What were the outcomes or the impact statement that you had, as well as kind of a summary. And one thing I tried was, at the beginning of the year, as soon as we get like the team and the business objectives, write a forward-looking
Plan.
2-pager.
Yeah.
That was that is the story that you want to tell at the end of the year for your performance. So that it's not just like I have these goals, but this is the story that I want to tell about myself.
Yeah. At the end of the year.
At the end of the year, when we go through the next performance management cycle.
Yeah.
And then the conversation turned to, okay, let's talk about specifics and how you can meet that plan and what help you need from me in order to get there throughout the year.
What if I don't know how to see myself? There are folks who can look forward and be like, hey, I want to get these certifications, I want to be able to implement these integrations or some advanced AI, or right? Some people are more aware of what's happening in the industry. Maybe they have some mentors to coach them, guide them, so they can put together the plan. But not everyone's fortunate to get that level of information or knowledge. So how would you help them build a plan?
Well, one thing is I encourage team members to share their plans with their peers.
Okay.
So they could see other and they could see other examples of like what good looked like.
Okay.
The other pieces, they could always ask me as a manager for input and to help, which was always part of the conversation. It's something that we would we do on a monthly basis. So if we had one-on-ones on a weekly basis or a couple times a week, once a month, would want to focus on kind of a career growth plan.
Yeah.
Anyways, and we kind of want to track that and maybe step outside of the operational challenges of the day and focus on the bigger picture. And then the other piece obviously would be any of the mentors or coaches that the employee was working with could help them with that as well.
Yeah.
And that's important because sometimes it's as an individual contributor, there's something that you want to achieve or accomplish, and you have a goal with an outcome, but you need help from elsewhere in the organization, or you need help with the opportunity.
Yep.
So, so one of the things that I would do as a manager is I would look across, my peers and the other teams, and if someone said, I'm making up an example here, but if someone said, I want to do a pilot for generative AI, and this was like the new thing that just came out, and I'm sitting on a leadership call with my peers, other leaders in the organization, and someone says, hey, we're light on SAs, we're trying to do this proof of concept with the customer on generative AI, and we're short, then I can play matchmaker and make the connection and say, talk to this individual, they'd be more than happy to help, and make that connection.
Makes sense. So here is the deal. The reason why I asked the question is, I've made this mistake too. So the common mistake is, you work with a team, you have this weekly sprints, and you have this quarterly goals. You have this team member just focus on the weekly sprints and quarterly goals without thinking through their individual career in that, or career goals in the year, right? So you nicely said you put together the plan for the year, right? Quite often I've seen these plans sits in a document somewhere hidden in OneDrive or some email attachment. How do you follow through, or have you followed through and make sure they're executing on this plan? I have some answers in my mind, but I want to hear from you. Yeah.
It becomes tough because sometimes employees get so caught up in the day-to-day of what they're trying to deliver that they
Even the manager,
and managers too.
They're dealing with escalations every day.
They don't defend the time that they need to do these other things that are going to help them advance.
Yeah.
And I've seen that time and time again as well.
So here's the challenge. So you have the plan. Luckily, if the plan aligns with the outcomes that you discussed about, and it also aligns with your sprints and the quarterly goals and everything, great, beautiful. You can just continue to grow. If the plan isn't aligned or slightly deviated, what do you do in that situation? It's a tough question. I'm intentionally asking it.
If the plan has to change for some reason?
Or plan isn't really aligned. So you
if
have
it's
a plan.
Not aligned,
the team member comes with a plan, but you can clearly see that the plan isn't aligned with the business outcomes or the organizational goals. So what do you do in this situation?
I mean, hopefully you can have that conversation at the very beginning up front before you spend a lot of time. I mean, like anything, the earlier that you have that alignment, the better.
Yeah.
Because the debt of going slightly askew gets bigger over time.
Makes sense.
So the earlier you can course correct, the better.
So making sure their plan aligns with the business outcome, which also allows them to grow with the business outcome, it's kind of critical. So you can guide them, coach them. Here's the outcome for a quarter and half-yearly, annual. Here's how you can realign your plan to match with this. So your technical goals and business goals, personal goals just grow alongside with it. Yeah.
I don't know if this will make the cut or not, but there's one more dimension to this, which is I worked with team members that were really good at putting together a plan. And if you looked at the plan, it were things that was easy for them to check box.
Yeah.
Right? Like I got this done, I got that done. That it was almost like task oriented.
Yeah.
And maybe there was some kind of an outcome that came from that, but the overall story lacked the scale and the impact.
Okay.
And a lot of times you don't have to check every box to meet a goal, like if you want to get promoted to the next level and everything like that. But if you don't have the scale and the impact statement, so if you drive 1,000 really small outcomes that aren't super important, even though they're positive, it isn't going to be as big as I helped the customer do something that was just transformational at a large scale that helped reinvent their business.
Yeah.
Oh, but I missed half these other things that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to look at, to look at the story that you're trying to build has to have that component of impact to it.
Makes sense. This is awesome. I have one more question. The last question, hopefully. It's a tough one. Again, it's as a manager, you have limited time. You're dealing with maybe let's say you're a middle manager, or even the manager of the managers too. Everyone has their own responsibilities. Managers, the manager, they may be reporting to a leader or external customers. You have your own job to do.
Sure.
If you're a middle manager, you're reporting to your manager, you're dealing with escalations, you're constantly kind of working hard, and you have limited amount of hours as well, right? And let's say you have 10 team members reporting to you. I don't know what the right size is. Let's assume you have 10 team members. Okay. If you do the math, if you have to have one-on-ones for each of the team member, on a given month, you have to spend 10 hours, right? Just per month, one-on-ones, just for meetings. On top of that, you have to prepare for the meeting, you have to follow up after the meeting. So it can add up pretty fast. Let's say 3 hours per person, 30 hours, which is almost like a big portion of your time, right? What's the best way to do this? Is it like one-on-ones or something else? Or how can you continue to be engaged with your team, right? So you can maintain the relationship with every single team member?
I always made it a point to have consistent one-on-ones. Yeah, there's scheduling and there's vacations and things like that, but I always made it a point to protect that time that I had.
And how much is it?
But it varied, for some team members, it may have only been a half hour every other week.
Okay.
For some, it may have been an hour a week because...
Why is that?
Maybe they were new. They needed more, they needed more help.
I see. So when the level of understanding and maturity is high, you would keep it short, and because you're already in the same wavelength, you can just continue to have.
But if I was working with someone on a promotion, I'd be spending more one-on-one time with them. So they might be, high achievers that I'm spending more time with as well. So I kind of varied it based on the need, but I always tried to maintain a cadence. And like you're talking about, like the preparation. I usually expected my team members to own the agenda.
Okay.
Like it's their meeting, I'm here to help them as a servant leader.
Yeah.
Tell me what help that you need, but there was always, part of the meeting was my time. If I, for the things that I wanted to bring to the meeting or things that I wanted to raise, but it was important for me to try and get the team members to kind of own and help drive the meetings, because a lot of it was less about me trying to tell them how to do their job, but me trying to help them clear blockers.
Okay. So what is the so it could be half an hour to an hour every month?
I usually did bi-weekly at least, every other week.
Okay. And
in some cases it was weekly.
So it
was a lot of time.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of time. If I had 10 or more team members, I was probably doing them every other week, every couple of weeks.
So 10, if you have 10, then you would keep it bi-weekly.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, because this is something people always struggle. I also struggled, right? You're busy running around and doing your own job. You have to somewhere down the line it slips through the crack. You forgot to talk, or it's just you missed the time because you were busy with something else. That's why I asked this question, because it's very difficult to make time. I know, but these are the important people in your team, right? At the same time, you're dealing with escalations. You're dealing with all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I moved a lot of meetings. I moved a lot of one-on-ones. With escalations and things like that. Obviously.
Yeah.
But it was important for me to let the team know that that I was accessible and that I made that effort to be accessible.
Makes sense. Awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the time. Thank you, Mark.
You bet.
Yeah, I think we can go to bed. This is a beautiful place, by the way. Thank you.
So when I left Mexico, the crossing from La Cruz, Banderas Bay near Puerto Vallarta, kind of on the Mexican Riviera, that's where I left solo to the Marquesas, so across the equator, and everything else to French Polynesia and the South Pacific. I did that solo, and that was about 3,200 miles, 3,200 nautical miles for that solo. And then once